Hello and welcome to another Vista tips and tricks video. Today we're going to continue with our Busking Extras playlist. Last time we looked at flyout effects and I showed you how to stick a flyout effect on a toggle button or a flash key, or stick it on a fader so you can manually bring it in and out. I also showed you how to make it override a position effect, so when you start the flyout it goes to it, stops the position effect, and then when you end the flyout it will go back to your position effect. If you haven't seen that video, go and check it out. Today we're going to look at a few other things that we can add to our busking show file, and we're going to look at strobe rate on a fader and gobo spin on a fader. These are two very easy things that you can just throw in over the top of your programming and then take away just as easily. So with anything, we're going to start with a new cue list and a new cue, and we're going to put it in our manual effects quick picker that we made last time. I'm going to right click and go create new cue list. We're going to call this one Spot Strobe. Now we're going to right click and edit to open. Then we're going to grab our spots. Now in live, I'm going to go and give it some intensity, and I'm going to bring it down stage so we can see what we're doing. We don't want any other information in this cue apart from strobe information. So if you want to move your lights or turn them on to program this, do that in live and then go into your cue to then add the strobe features. So it is as simple as going to your intensity tab and bringing your strobe to full. Now the reason we want this at full is because when we put this on a fader, when we push the fader all the way up, it will be at 100% strobe, and we bring it all the way down, it will be at 0% strobe. Now there's one more thing we have to do. We have to go right click on our cue, go to cue list properties, and here we can decide how we want this to play back. So first of all, I'm going to change the priority to high because I want this to play over the top of everything. Then I'm going to change my fader type to all features. I want this to be an autoplay and release. And I'm going to change my fader intensity mode to submaster because I want my manual timing on the fader and not the cue timing. Then I'm going to go exclude from store, and then in timing, I'm going to make my release timing 0. Now, because I like to do a lot of these kind of manual bumps and stuff all in one go, I'm also going to now save this as my default for my cue list settings. So now I don't have to go back and do this all again for anything else that I want to work in the same way. So all you have to do is click Save as Default, and now when we hit OK, the next cue list that we make will already have those settings saved for us. So now we can go ahead and close, save and release. Go to our console, I'm going to pick a new page. We can also go down to our manual effects quick picker, and you'll find that everything is stored here as well, so it makes it very easy to navigate all of your content. I'm going to grab that, throw it on a fader, and now because it's autoplay and release, as soon as I nudge this fader, it will start strobing at the lower level, and then as I bring it up, the strobe will get faster and faster and faster, all the way to full. Flash key also works, it will flash it to full. But another nice thing I like to do with this is because we don't necessarily need the play button for this at all, what I like to do is make that a play toggle. And the reason I like to do this is because, say I bring my strobe to like a 50% speed. Now if I hit the play toggle, it will stop it for me, but if I hit it again, it will bring it back in at that speed. So instead of having to go from 0 every time and bring it up, I can just sit there and the cue will remember where it is, and I can just play toggle straight back into that strobe speed again. So now that we have our strobe rate on a fader, I'm going to show you how to do exactly the same thing using the same method, but for gobo spin. So just as before, I'm going to put my intensity and position for my fixtures in live, and then I'm going to create a new cue list by right-clicking, clicking new cue list and typing in Spot Gobo Spin. Hit OK, right click and edit to open it, because all we need in the cue is the gobo spin information. We don't actually even need a gobo selected. All you need to do is change it from index to spin, and then bring the spin rate to 100. Now, just as before with our strobe, we want the fader at full to be our fastest spin and the fader at 0 to be our slowest spin. And because we saved our Q list properties as default last time, we don't actually have to look at them either. So we've saved ourselves a bit of time. So with that done, all we need to do now is close, save and release, then drag and drop it onto a fader. And just as before, I'm going to put a play toggle on this one as well, because it will be useful. Now, in live or using a preset, I'm going to throw a gobo into our spots, and we can check how this works. Now, there is a couple ways you can use this fader. The first way, by default, if you have your gobo in index, what will happen first is the first half of the fader will actually control the index of the gobo. And this can be quite useful. So if you want the index as well as spin, you can index your gobo, and then after about 50% of the fader, it will go into spin mode, which will go from fast to slow. If you don't want the indexing in there, all you have to do is in live or using a preset, put the gobo wheel into spin mode, and then you'll have spin mode from the bottom of your fader. So depending on how you want to use it, if you want to actually manually control the index, which can be quite a cool effect to do manually on the fly, then have it in index mode first. If you want to just have spin mode, make sure your gobo wheel is in spin mode. Another way to do this, in fact, if we drop this down and make a new queue, again in 0 seconds, what we can do in this queue is actually make a toggle for index or spin. So I'm just going to put spin as this queue name, select these fixtures, and only put them in spin mode. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not actually going to change the rate at all. Then if I close, save this as spin mode, then save and release this. What I can do now is using a play toggle, and I can show you this as well if I take my console out. Using this play toggle, if you can see, when it's toggled on, it's in spin mode. When it's toggled off, it's in index mode. So I can bring this up and use half of it for index and half of it for spin if I want, or I can toggle it into spin mode and use the whole thing for spin. So there's a couple ways you can use this fader. And of course, we can use our strobe over the top of this. And at any time, we can stop these using our play toggle, or bring them back in exactly where they were. Or we can start them from 0 again. So I hope this has helped. You can use this method for pretty much any parameter that you want, but these are a couple ways that you can control speed of something on a fader. If you have any questions about what I've shown you, or you have any questions that you'd like to see done, or any other effects you'd like to see, please put them in the comments below, or on the Vista forum or Facebook. I'll see you in the next video.